This your boy didn't know about back with another video, man. Say I just got off work, so I decided to watch. I worked the night shift. I decided to watch the Knicks and Detroit game three. This was big. This was a big game for the Knicks because they lost home court because they lost game two to Detroit, and I just want to see how they came out. And Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns went absolutely crazy. Those three combined for 72 points, 17 rebounds. I think it was 6 steals and 5 blocks between the three of them. And that was very important because those were the new additions that the Knicks thought were going to take them to the next level. You got OG last year. You got Mikal Bridges in a trade where you gave up a lot of draft capital for him, and then you brought in Karl Anthony Towns. So I don't think those three have clicked on both ends like they did in Game Three against the Pistons, and it was well needed because Jalen Brunson had a solid game, but Jalen Brunson didn't have a great game. He was 9 for 20 from the field. He finished with 30 points and 9 assists, but he did go for 1 for 7 from three. And Jalen Brunson can get a little ball hoggy. Let's just keep it a buck. I think Karl Anthony Towns, he had like, I forget the amount, but he didn't have hardly any points, if any, in game two. Later in the second half, third quarter, fourth quarter, wherever it was, whatever the crazy number was, where Karl Anthony Towns was kind of just not a part of the game. So in game three, the shot distribution was way better for the Knicks. But the biggest thing to me that swung the game in the Knicks' favor, because everything was pretty tight because the Knicks was up 6 going into the second quarter. And then eventually, with 5 minutes to go, Detroit was up 4 points. Then all of a sudden, OG and Mikal Bridges absolutely took over. They went from being down 4 points, the New York Knicks, to ending the second quarter and going into halftime up 11 points. OG ended up with 8 points in that 5 minute stretch. Mikal Bridges ended up with 7 points and 2 blocks in that 5 minute stretch. They absolutely took over on both ends. Cade Cunningham didn't have a great shooting game. He also had 6 turnovers. And I've been waiting for this Mikal Bridges to show his face. It was kind of like a mix between the Suns' Mikal Bridges and the Brooklyn Nets' Mikal Bridges, because he had a dub. He had 20 points, 7 rebounds. He had a couple of assists, but then he had 3 steals and 2 blocks. Mikal Bridges was absolutely spectacular in game three. And I'm not a Mikal Bridges fan at all. I thought he was extremely overrated, especially with what I was hearing people was willing to give up for him, and what ultimately the Knicks gave up for him, a lot of draft capital. I was hearing Houston last year was looking to give up like 4 or 5 picks for him. So I thought he wasn't worth that. But if Mikal Bridges can do what he did in game three against the Detroit Pistons, hey man, the sky's pretty much the limit for New York. The version of the Knicks that we seen in game three versus the Pistons, that's a scary New York team, because if you look at it, they would have to play the Boston Celtics in round two if both those teams make it. And if you look at putting OG Anunoby on Jason Tatum, you look at putting Mikal Bridges on Jaylen Brown, this version, game three version, it's going to be a tough series, man. Now, that series would come down to Cat, and that series would come down to Jalen Brunson, because I really want to see this Knicks versus Celtics matchup in the second round if we do get it, if the Knicks can prevail to beat Detroit. But I just felt like this is what the Knicks operating on some of their highest levels, man. If you could operate like this as the New York Knicks, how they operated in game three, the Knicks, this was everything the Knicks fans been waiting for. This is everything the Knicks fans been waiting for. OG actually looked like he got a bag offensively. OG is doing stuff I haven't seen outside of just catching and shooting. He's creating a little bit. His defensive playmaking was absolutely amazing in game three. And Cat played a little bit more bully ball. Cat, hey, he was getting into it. Paul Reed, just fiery. He had 2 blocks. Just those three for the Knicks were just amazing, man. Everything I've seen from Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Cat in Game 3 was just absolutely amazing. I can't say enough. Those 3 guys made me look at the New York Knicks ceiling way differently, because that's what you hope for in theory. And we talked about this on our podcast, Hoop Historians, that's on this channel, that I thought this was a 5-game series. I thought with the personnel that the Knicks have versus the personnel that the Detroit Pistons had, this should be the cakewalk for New York. And of course, I underestimated just how gritty Detroit was, how good Cade was, Dennis Schroeder, the energy, Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway had an amazing Game 3. Like, the energy those guys play with in Detroit is just off the charts. The leadership Cade Cunningham shows. I don't know if y'all seen Cade Cunningham pulling Paul Reed and Dennis Schroeder, who looked like they was kind of getting into it. He pulled him to the side and was like, "Hey, man, the leadership, everything I've seen from Cade and the Pistons, I'm just impressed. Even this Game 3 where OG, Mikal, and Karl-Anthony Towns went off, like, the Pistons still fought, because they could have laid down after that second quarter onslaught. Y'all need to go watch it. It was like 5:24 in the second quarter. Watch from 5:24 in the second quarter until halftime. That was some of the best basketball I've seen all postseason in a 5-minute stretch. Mikal Bridges and OG just was amazing. And if you can get that version of those guys, the 3 new additions for the New York Knicks, sky's the limit. And I'm just impressed with what I seen Game 3. I want to see how they come out Game 4. And I don't know, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the Knicks. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about Mikal. I think Mikal Bridges, this what Tibbs needs to do. Y'all play these niggas 40 minutes, 50 minutes anyway. Let Mikal Bridges do his thing with the second unit. Because I think if the Knicks want to get to where they want to go, a conference finals or finals possibly, they will have to let Mikal Bridges cook, and he's going to have to consistently get you about 16 to 20 points, 17 to 20 points. OG is going to have to consistently get you 17 to 22 points. And Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns have to be Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. But let Mikal Bridges cook more Tibbs, especially like in 9 Brunson minutes, because he can be a primary ball handler, he can create his own shot, and you need to get him going. So when Jalen Brunson is in the game with him, he can be ready for his catching shoots or attacking closeouts. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about the Knicks. Do y'all believe more now after Game 3? Can they make a conference finals run? Can they make a finals run? But y'all let me know in the comments. But this boy didn't know, Bob. If y'all like these type of videos, I do one every time I get off for a game that's interesting or a game that ends up being a better game. Because I already knew the Knicks won, but I want to see how they won. And to me, it was that second quarter, the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, that changed the whole game, bro. But if y'all like this type of content, like, comment, subscribe, let me know. But this boy didn't know about. I'm out.
Found some shit I love to do, so I can look comfortable. Searching for a peace of mind. Need that when it's time to rhyme. Perfect in every line. Any chance I get, and I know it takes time, but I will never quit.